The SABC has come a long way since the days of apartheid.
Those days, it was a totally different SABC. Everything was done according to strict racial segregation.
Well, very difficult to do your job as a journalist because the management at the time decided how the news should be molded.
Today, it boasts policies that safeguard public interest, diversity, and journalistic integrity in accordance with legislative acts and the Constitution. Transformation of the SABC began in 1990 when Nelson Mandela was released from prison and political parties, including the ANC, were unbanned. It became a public broadcaster following the first elections in 1994.
Up to the end of the 90s, it felt like we did what a public broadcaster should do. And there was good cooperation at the time between the SABC management, civil society, and generally support from the political parties.
The broadcaster relatively managed to steer clear of political interference for several years after 1994. However, things started to change. Some argue the company began focusing on becoming a commercial enterprise while losing sight of its public broadcasting mandate. In 1999, government became its sole shareholder in a move meant to give the state more oversight on the public broadcaster's finances to avoid financial problems. However, political meddling became more apparent with governing party sympathizers being appointed at board level. In 2008, the once financially viable public broadcaster went bankrupt due to alleged poor governance. The controversial blacklist saga was exposed with allegations that some political parties and analysts were banned from content coverage. The 2016 banning of footage depicting violent protests was another blow to the fight for an independent public broadcaster. Some of the corporation's news staff, together with civil society, challenged the ban. 8 senior journalists who took a stand were fired and subsequently rehired when the Labour Court reinstated them.
We have currently strong leadership who shields the newsroom from political interference.
We've developed into one of the biggest broadcasters in Africa, if not the biggest in Africa. For an example, like our newsroom situation is a very unique one. You can imagine how many bulletins we put out on air on a daily basis compared to the 3 bulletins that we used to do in the early days in 1982.
It's been a bittersweet 25 years. The broadcaster has been at the heart of most of the country's democratic journey. From the comprehensive coverage of the TRC to the 2010 FIFA World Cup to detailed countrywide coverage of every election since 1994. But it's been the broadcaster's financial woes that have dominated headlines. With the advancement of digital technologies, it's hard to predict what the next 25 years have in store for the public broadcaster. For now, it remains the broadcaster of choice for millions of South Africans, particularly in rural areas.